Hi, my friends and family. My name's Trey, and today I'm going to talk to you about how religions paved the way to transhumanism. See if I can burn a few more bridges around me as the social martyr. Just being a heyoka. Jesus! I remember when the whole thing began. It had nothing at all to do with obeying the man. And it's always about the Christ is within. Now. Religions paved the way to transhumanism. Of course, my bloodkins, and I wonder if the one who got the MD who sings in the church choirs has watched any of my videos. I haven't seen any feedback or heard anything. And of course, naturally, in the mainstream media, in the mainstream internet media, as well as controlled opposition agencies like Fox News, Mr. T Club, and even Russell Brand. I say Russell Brand after watching someone's expose on him recently. Actually, it was St. Julian, which is very interesting that he would expose them. They're both being sun sign Aries, and the one who fasted for 40 days and wrote a book and exposes the evil aliens, and the one who sort of does that as a comedian, former comedian, popular gatekeeper, was quoting Paul's letter to the Ephesians and on a YouTube short the other day, and that's just so cute, and it's true, we do fight against the principalities of darkness. However, it just fits in perfectly with what I'm saying here as well. After millions of years, often filled with trauma-bonding wars and Stockholm Syndrome to our patriarchies and dark ET controllers, and having them continually through bloody coercion, through war, SRA, and other forms of terrorism, we acquiesced, or we bent over and took it, and we ran their wars and we obeyed them. We hear about the horrible remote-controlled humanoid slavery and movement called transhumanism. Growing rapidly everywhere, and they'll even hint at the self-replicating nanotech colonies inside the insane needle tech mad scientists international attempted forced experiment. I mean, some of these gatekeepers will attempt at that. Yet no gatekeeper will ever tell you the obvious truth that religion, or Abrahamic Western religions in particular, were always about control over you by others who are not you. God is not you. God is in the sky. This is one of the most important, if not the most central important thing about Western religion and all of the so-called authorities, is that God is in the sky. The Scientism death cult is in those institutional buildings and in the hands of those operational experts, but not in your hands. No gatekeeper will ever tell you the obvious truth that hidden in the face of all Orthodox religions, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and Catholic so-called leaders, which is that our ancient ancestors began transhumanism thousands of years ago by fearfully obeying, agreeing to the hybridization, doing what they said, and, in many circumstances you would just be beheaded or killed if you didn't. Fearfully obeying, creating and adopting these negative alien control groups. What control groups, the reptilian codification of evil inversion into official truth, as I've said in 325, called the Council of Nicaea. Official reality has slowly boiled our froggy human souls until the year 2030, when roughly half of the humanity will be made into soulless automaton, 100% devoid of free will or empathy. Now, isn't Lucifer a brilliant, evil, mad scientist? Think about this. Is the etymology of the word religion going to tell you, if you have discernment, what it really means? Think about it. In Latin, the word relegare, which is the basis of it, according to that theory, is to hold back, to hold you back in ascension. But phonetically, if you spell it out, what does it spell? Religion, right? Religion. What does that mean? What does re mean? My name is Trey. There's a re in the middle. What does that mean? That means I'm constantly serving things that have already happened, or explanations, for example, or songs, memories. Re is going back. Re is going back over it. Remember. So religion is going back to war. If you're in a religion, you're going back to war. That's what the word means phonetically. Think about it. It's really obvious. About armies. That's what religion is about armies. So, but of course, as I said, the most overt form of this was the reptilian codification of evil inversion into official truth in 325 AD, so-called the Council of Nicaea. Since then, official reality has slowly boiled our froggy human souls. And so, as we watch this emergence of the so-called humans 2.0, so-called experimental race, what role have you played in this transition? All of you obedient to the violent, racist, genocidal orthodoxy, whether you killed as a conquistador or give most of your energy to the vampire junior gods because you're a wage slave or you're a mind control victim. One of the obvious secondary points of these cults is so that you give all your energy to the dark side. Of course, like I said, they need your energy or they don't exist. All of you devout, exoteric, religious fools, you've psychologically built the seeming concrete sidewalk of a terrified, trauma-bonded child. Just like everyone who has NPD or NPEs, even myself, if I'm not 100% healed, when I'm upset, if I don't take deep breaths and disidentify with these idiot spirits, I will act like a 3-year-old child. Because that's what narcissism does, as it's the personality of Lucifer, the ultimate 3-year-old evil genius, if there was such a thing. So, possessed by the narcissist predator junior gods who designed them, you and everyone else, all these idiots out here, are not in opposition to transhumanism. If you are in Abrahamic cult, if you were in an Abrahamic cult or so-called, these mainstream exoteric cult religions, you are not in opposition to transhumanism. You are psychologically transhumanist. Awakening is your responsibility, not mine. I can give you a hint. I can give you 500 reminders. That's not the same thing as doing it. You have to do the footwork. You have to do the shadow work. And as long as you give your power and energy to the demiurge, Lucifer, Yahweh, the Elohim, what's going to happen is whatever they intend. Your energy is going to what they want, which is for them to have your energy in this vicious Ouroboros in perpetuity, in endless wars in perpetuity. And it's all really obvious, but since so many of you out there have trauma bonded to these demons, that are very, very talented at controlling you. As long as you're stuck at the hip or psychologically, for you can only do what your blood-drinking masters command, or you will burn in hell forever. You see, peaceful anarchy is a far more real form of morality, because we were given free will by the divine Christ Sophia even before Lucifer hit the scene a very long time ago. He cannot change that. You can create all these structures. You can take Nikola Tesla's amazing invention of Wi-Fi 130 years ago and weaponize it into direct energy weapons, and also do wonderful things like make 5G wireless everywhere, so I can spend 10 hours a day learning on YouTube how to heal psychologically or how to heal from shamans. But still, that's a dual-edged sword, as I said, because there's a control aspect to that that's very inverted. Abrahamic cults you call religions are inherently immoral, because the locus of control or power is placed outside the human, which is inherently, inevitably, 105% to my gauge, immoral. We're not here to give our power away to something we have never seen, because we were built in the image of the divine Christ Sophia, and we have the capacity to reclaim the 96% of our DNA that these idiots who obey the Scientism death cult and the junior demiurge gods call junk is actually our divine inheritance, if we have the courage and the tenacity to reclaim it. In a sense, these Abrahamic religions are worse, because your violent Nazi master slavers aren't even on our planet. You obey these violent, vicious, bloodthirsty gods who tell you they're all loving and kind. It's worse than the 1% criminal robber barons, because you don't even see them. You can't even confront them at all in the physical, you know. So when the humans, when the Hamas battle began in Israel last year, before it was removed, I watched David Icke speak about it on the YT, and David Icke said, people think there's two sides in this war, but there's only one side in the war. It's been proven that the Rothschild, the Khazarian mafia, has funded all the so-called world wars, and even before that, funded the secret societies or began them, even the alternative ones. So, Christ can truly only be found within. I'm just going to keep saying this over and over and over and over to see how many people I can kind of reach an arm down into the pits of hell of exoteric garbage, dogmatic, feast on the louche. Honestly, no matter how honest, no matter how respectful, and no matter how nice you are, if you are an orthodox follower of an Abrahamic religion, you're going to have extreme anxiety most of the time, probably a lot of cognitive dissonance. If you're not a mystic, if you're a Sufi or a follower of Martin, of mystic Christianity or a Gnostic, I'm not so worried about you. But the dogmatic amongst you, the alien predators just feast off your energy. They love it. Okay? So Christ can only be found within. All eternal control can become a heist, psychological heist. So quit exoteric control if you're extremely courageous. Get your head out of Lucifer's keister. We call it dogma. Recognize the pop music cults of the Illuminati, Hollywood cults, postmodernism, most of atheism, transhumanism, asexualism, and the Scientism death cult are just more transparent and honest forms of soullessness and alien control than old religions. They're just more, those sicko perverted new versions are just more openly anti-life. That's all. Bloody coercion into complying with beings who have no respect for life is not a good idea, humanity. It's stupid. But it takes a lot of courage when you've been used to this shit for millions of years to get your head out of it. When you look at the so-called tops of the so-called pyramid of so-called inverted-ass society and how amoral they are, and how into drinking blood often, or killing, or stealing for all their power and millions of dollars they are, usually, and you respect them, just think about what that says about your morality. In short, bloody coercion to complying with beings who have no respect for life is not a good idea. In short, in transhumanism, the cat's out of the bag. Like in Israel and Mecca, people die and kill each other for the same gods of the black magic cube tech. They both sides, certain parts of both sides, where they circle around the black cube in Mecca, and certain sects of it, rabbis wear the black cube right here, and they worship the same damn evil symbol, and it's beaming from the planet Saturn into the moon, into Pluto and Mars and Earth, telling everyone on the planet Earth, your job is to take care of us. Your job is to take care of God. Put food on the table. But number one, pay for the box. The box is why you're in your body. Take care of the box. The box is why you are here. It's beaming that bullshit. And that's how they feed. And it beams on you all the time. Take care of the box. That's all that matters. Everyone else is doing it. Okay? And so Mark Passio he made a presentation called Order Followers Are the Cult of Ultimate Evil. Order followers. Not guys like me. What happened in 2020 was informed by a history of mind control through especially the last 500 years, but thousands of years of fear. History of external control by fear, through war and SRA, external control. Your old religion is trashing your soul. Okay? And it's not really about morality, but about controlling you, controlling your soul, and forcing it back into the box of permanent mental slavery. Just like Humans 2.0 is the overt version. Like I say, it's just the cat's out of the bag version of the same old shit our fake-ass junior gods have been doing this whole time. And I'm not saying they're not talented at what they do. They're masters. Because they live for thousands of years as vampires, and that's where the idea came from, that vampires live forever. But only as long as they get that food. And your trauma and your literal physical blood and your soul reincarnating is the food. Okay? The Humans 2.0 have to have their bodies replaced by machinery. It's the most sick and tragic thing that's ever happened to us as a species. So let go of guilt, narcissism, dogma, fear, and notice, as soon as you can, notice how much external control will and is going to kill the human race. Unless I change, unless it changes. I don't grow my own food. I'm not a farmer. I don't earn my own money. So thus, it took me almost 500 videos to get 100 followers and a shadow ban. But I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that, like, when you choose not to participate, you will pay the price, okay, of the karma of what you sow harvest in every moment and every year. So we really have to, certainly, I mean, one could say that I have to monetize and make some money doing this, in order to fulfill to draw the circle to join again into this. As long as we need to earn, as long as there is such a thing as currency that operates, However, because I don't want to have to carry everything. I already have to carry a lot of it, and it's heavy. So I'm not opposed to money. I'm not opposed to commerce. I'm opposed to vampirism. I'm opposed to the beings that tried to force me to be like them. And it did help me to have compassion, but and also have compassion for those who were pulled into the horrible tragedy of complying in 2020. But that compassion doesn't mean that I'm going to give up and bend over. That compassion doesn't mean that I'm going to stop. Because the truth is that I'm here to support the awakening of all beings, okay, including myself. Internal discernment and awareness of Christ within, when inspiring our decisions, will emerge as the real divinity. More powerful than codependency with vampire junior gods, for the real God was always in here and co-interdependent with all beings. Internal discernment was how some resisted the 2020 battle over Earth, but that's only the beginning, because we're going to have to deal with the repercussions of all that happened in that year. What if, and also all these damn weather weapons and geoengineering, what if do as we say or you'll be killed actually means do as we say to die or you must fight us for your life? Well, that's what it means from my perspective, because again, these vampire junior gods are pushing everyone into the corners. They're so talented at talking a good game that you're going to have to psychologically or verbally at least assert, your rights, or what's going to happen. What do you think is going to happen if you don't? This talk was inspired by Jeffrey Mishlove from the New Thinking Aloud on YouTube, a man who was, a very talented psychological healer, exploring metaphysics, self-censoring Jewish man, Sophia, that in the 1980s on PBS had a show. That is where I first, heard the interview with Michael Talbot, which informed me to read the PDF, the Holographic Universe. So his show is how I discovered that. And what I'm saying is that Jeffrey, Mr. Mishlove, has been doing this kind of thing of exploring consciousness and sharing explorations of conversations of consciousness, exploration in the multidimensional reality, psychedelic awareness, and Buddhism, for 40 years now, publicly. But this was a recently, several days ago, interview he did with a man named James Tully, who's actually written maybe like a dozen books, a lot of them about transhumanism. And we must see these similarities to wake up, okay? We must see how obedience to these really talented false gods that convinced us through war and killing they were God, and then coercing us into this experiment 4 years ago. We really have to see that it's the same beings. The similarities are blatant because it's the same beings, man. And if we can't see that, and if you're still trapped in religious cult dogma, it's going to be really hard to really wake up. And that's why, 96, 99 to 100% of all the people that are in the old religions, they'll be polite to me, but they'll never want to talk to me very much anymore. Because their energy's been being funneled to the junior gods, and recycled. So, and this video, as Jeffrey would often say, was also inspired by you, the truly open-minded, discerning humans who know in truth we can find peace and freedom within discernment of gnosis of truth. The crucifixion implant is a narrative, like the lockdown. The crucifixion implant is a fear-based hell narrative, like the lockdowns in transhumanism. a vampiric hell-based narrative. Okay? Hell forever is a fabrication of the junior gods and the demiurge. They created it. And I will say they did a great job of creating hell forever on this planet if we don't all change. The truth is also, or most of us, the truth is also in there. The truth is out there, and the truth is in there. Okay? You are a part of a non-violent, non-hierarchical, respectful goddess. Our real creator, Christ Sophia, is awakening in your heart and awareness. If you're willing to take on this crucial and tall order, sometimes, and challenging and wonderful journey of a mission. If you've enjoyed this talk and you haven't already, subscribe, click on the notification bell to get notified when I come out with more installments. Check out my videos on Rumble and Odyssey if you want to get more into the bloody details of the mind control and the physical control I can't talk about on the big bad Alphabet Corporation, Google, CIA, YouTube. And you know what? To all of you, whatever you identify as, whether you identify as a garbage thinker who thinks your brain is 96% junk, or you realize that's a pathetic, fake-ass, mind-controlled idea, and you're growing in your divinity. Create a great one, my family.